Today, during an undercover narcotics operation, an undercover Albuquerque Police Department detective was shot. The preliminary investigation shows that the detective was shot by another Albuquerque Police Department officer.
An Albuquerque police officer critically injured during an operation gone wrong.
We have live team coverage from the scene to the hospital where that officer is fighting for his life. News 13's Chris McKee has been on the scene all day. He starts our team coverage with what he's learned from the chief.
Yeah, Jessica, Chief Gorden Eden was clearly emotional, visibly upset today as he told reporters that this shooting was the result of friendly fire.
Both officers involved were working in plain clothes and in an undercover capacity, and both officers been with the department for many years.
It was around 11:40 when APD says one officer shot another officer in the parking lot of the McDonald's here on Central near Tramway. Police aren't saying the name of the officer who was shot, only that he's an undercover detective. They also haven't released the name of the officer that fired his gun. Chief Eden says the undercover officers were trying to arrest two men on drug-related charges. Somewhere in the mix, one officer fired his gun, which hit a fellow officer. We asked Chief Eden today if the suspects had or used a gun, but he said he couldn't answer that question. We don't know how many shots were fired or where the other officer was hit.
Keep the officer in your prayers. Keep the entire department in your prayers. These men and women go out every day. They risk their lives, and this is just another example, an all too frequent example of how dangerous police work can be.
Now, APD says the two suspects that they were after are both in custody tonight. And again, Chief Gorden Eden could not answer that question about whether or not they had a gun or used it during this incident. Back to you.
All right, Chris, thank you. This is a busy part of town, and there were a lot of people in that area when it happened. It was 11:40, lunchtime at the McDonald's. News 13's Kayla Ayers spoke to witnesses who paint a better picture of exactly what led up to this. Kayla is live at the scene.
Well, Dean, it happened in this parking lot of this McDonald's during an undercover drug bust. One man who was inside the restaurant at the time describes what he saw.
We just saw these unmarked vehicles pull up, like these Ram 1500 Dodge trucks or whatever, and they surrounded this vehicle so it could not back up and escape. And then at that point, then the shots happened, and the guy was dragged to the pavement and handcuffed.
Wallace Anderson says there were about 15 to 20 people inside the McDonald's at the time. He says they couldn't see the shooting because it was on the other side of a vehicle from where he was, but he could hear the gunfire. He says they then saw officers wrestling what we now know are narcotics suspects to the ground. A lot of commotion was surrounding a black car. Other people in the area at the time say they heard several gunshots, at least 3, and then saw an ambulance cart someone away.
I heard at least 3. There might have been more. I heard at least 3. Just pop, pop, pop. So, from what I heard, and like I said, just drew my attention, towards this area because we were just across the street there.
Suddenly, they were stopping traffic. There were some people that were not in uniform stopping traffic. Ambulance came in. They had that McDonald's all flagged off probably within about 5 minutes.
Now, as you can imagine, this is a tough situation for the police department. Officers are showing up at UNM Hospital for support. That's where we find News 13's Emily Younger. She continues our coverage there.
Yeah, Kayla, that officer is in critical condition, and we're told he's in surgery right now. Dozens of officers showed up to the UNM hospital this afternoon to be with the family and their colleague. While APD isn't releasing the names of the officers involved, we do know both have been with the department for years. The mayor says he's also visited with the family at the hospital. Now, witnesses at the McDonald's say officers on scene were very shook up.
When you say the officers were shook up, what do you mean by that?
One officer was, when the police showed up, then he went over and hugged him, almost like a relief thing.
Now, the chief says the department is just thankful for all of the prayers and the community's support. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Emily, thank you. This is the second officer shot in a week. Police say Christopher Cook opened fire on Officer Luke Golson during a traffic stop near San Mateo and Montgomery early Saturday morning. Golson was shot twice. We're told he had another surgery today and is still recovering at UNM Hospital. After 3 days on the run, Cook was caught on Tuesday.